In this episode, I spoke to Crystal Chow and we explore the many ways of how women can grow and take charge of their wealth. I hope you enjoy this. Welcome to the Chill Mom Boss, Crystal. Why don't you tell us, tell our audience, what do you do?
Hello everyone, my name is Crystal and I'm from Singapore and I'm a investor and also a wealth strategist guiding women to build their own 7 to 8 figure portfolio.
Wow, that sounds really impressive. So tell us, how do you get to where you are today?
So I used to be a banker. I've been working in finance for the past for 13 years before I actually stepped out to be a coach. So in banking and finance, I was actually helping people to manage their portfolio, helping them to allocate assets. So I started as a retail banker and moved out all the way to serving high net worth clients, both in the traditional finance space and in the crypto space.
Oh, wow. Okay. And today, how do you help your client?
So basically, right now, I'm actually teaching women to regain their power by educating them about investments so that they can actually take charge of their own portfolio and get started with investment.
Okay. So what's the maybe number one thing that you notice amongst your clients that that is probably holding them back to get to that 7-figure portfolio?
Yeah, so many of the women that I support, they are actually really successful, they're high achieving, they're so driven. But these are the clients that I will never get to meet when I was in banking. Because a lot of time they will tell themselves stories like, oh, I'm not good with managing money. I'll leave it to my husband. This is a man's book.
Even though they're very high achieving, they're still leaving finance in the hands of the husbands.
Yes. And I think a lot of time is actually probably a cultural narrative, a gender bias, that they feel like the man knows it better. So they leave this to the men. So that's why I got to a point where I decided that I really want to step up to help women. And I cannot teach hand as a banker when I was still in the institution. Yeah, and personally, what really drove me to want to be that, because I'm a single mother. And I'm actually a third generation of single mother. And being raised by my maternal grandma, who was illiterate single mother. It was tough because, first of all, she wasn't learning a lot. Of course, she did not have access to investment. She knows nothing. And that was really, really challenging. And being raised by her, hearing how much she suffered, actually left a deep imprint in both. And I realized that she didn't really have a lot of choice because resources were scarce in her reality. And that's the same for my mom. And when my mom went through her own divorce, when she got all the resources stripped away from her, and she was a housewife, she went into depression. And seeing 2 generations of women suffered in my own age, that left a big imprint in me. And of course, that also led me to have really flawed lens in terms of marriage. And then when I got into my own marriage, it was abusive. It wasn't healthy for me. But I could do something different that they couldn't. So I made a choice to walk out of it. Because through my years in the banking and finance, I've already built around there for the to be able to walk out of it. Yeah, because anything can happen, right? So if I don't have my financial resources, how can I ensure that I will be safe and my daughter will be safe? Yeah, so at the point of time, I really make a commitment that, okay, when I'm in a better place, I need to actually teach other women to do the same. They don't have to be in such dire situation like me, but when they know how to manage these resources, they can actually create a safety for themselves, their loved one, and they can also heal generational lineage because they can be the change for their whole generation.
Yeah, very, very similar to my story. When mom and dad wasn't divorced, but she was also a stay-at-home mom, and she was stuck, right? She wasn't in a great marriage, but she can't leave, right? She don't know what she can do, and with 3 children, what can she do? So it's very much left that imprint in me as well, and that I should not get into just rely on someone else for my financial security. Right? Not so much, I'm in love and all that. Yeah, it's fine. But emotional, yeah, it's fine. But financially, that's the most practical part, is to not live it in someone else's success. And there's so many, I think, our moms or past generation, they don't have the resources, they don't have the know-how. And even to this, our generation, I still have friends who are stay-at-home mom. They, like you say, even though they are high-flying, they are earning a lot of money, they still, maybe either their excuse is, I don't know, maybe you know more, could still help them. The excuses are, I don't know how. I'm afraid I'll screw this up, I'll lose money. I don't have the time, right? Just not good with money, right? So what's your number one thing kind of like to help them kind of at least get out of this mindset first to want to, yes, I need to do something at once.
Yeah. So for me, what I did the best is actually to simplify finance, to help them to actually shift their paradigm. So even a lot of the people that the women and coach, after they came in, me like, Crystal, I really don't know how to define you, because when they came in, they felt like finance was so heavy. But I just helped them to flip the whole narrative. Yeah, to let them see the opposite side of things. Like finance can be simple, supportive, safe. It doesn't have to be complicated. And I help them to actually see something that nobody else tells them.
Okay. So can you tell us simply how to see finance?
Okay, so basically, a lot of time when like you are businesshood, so when you talk about money with women, especially in the area of business, what kind of emotions actually comes when you talk about money?
Well, I mean, for us, not just money, right? It's just in terms of conversion, numbers, and all of that, they're already uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They're already, I don't know my numbers. I don't even begin to know where to look into all of this.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times the root cause is actually the over. They feel like, they are overwhelmed, like the layer of shame, the layer of like dread.
Where do I even begin?
Yes. So it's actually I would say, the negative tension, the relationship with money, with the subject. Yeah, but if you think about it, actually money is just energy. It's just another resources. Yeah, yeah. And if we start to establish a more fun, light-hearted emotion to be, the whole relationship starts to shift. And when you actually understand, like, that the words that, to understand the concept instead of letting the words cloud the whole story. For example, even when I was studying accounting in the past, I never really resonated with accounting because a lot of but if you look at it in its essence, the concept is actually easy. But they plug in the names, the terms, to overcomplicate this. So if we strip that away and understand the essence, instead of being wrapped around by the jargons, the big words, the terms, actually the conceptually is the same. So sometimes I even use relationship metaphor to explain finance concept. Simple metaphor to understand, because once you actually start seeing this in its essence, then when you plug in the terms and the names, that becomes easy.
I see. Okay. So what's the number one thing? Let's say, we were to start working together. And I say, help me. You don't manage my finance, right? What's the first thing that you would do?
Okay, so I do have a six-base framework, but the very, very first thing is to be 3 of your starting point.
Like, how much do I have?
Yes. Okay. How much do you have? Where are you starting? And just to be, just to have grace with that, because sometimes even this is really triggering. Because some people will feel like, oh my God, I'm starting at such a shitty place. Like, fine. Whatever you pick brought you here. That is just by seeing it as it is, to be gentle, that's good enough. And then also to understand where do you want to go. Because a lot of time, first of all, people don't have a goal. Or even if they have a goal, it's a really arbitrary goal. For example, I want to be a millionaire. But the point is, why do you want to be a millionaire? Ask yourself at least 5 whys. Because when you can dig deep into it and understand what is your root motivation, then that will actually be the one that
is benign, drives with, that you don't give up halfway. This is your art.
Yes. And the best is that this why can be associated with something beyond you. Because if the motivation is just that, I just want to look good, I just want people to look up to me, that is not strong enough for you to do the hard things. But let's just say, for example, if I say that, because I want to be a role model for my daughter. I want her to be inspired. I want her never to play small again. I want to let her know that she always has choices. Yeah. And I want to make sure that she's safe. Like anything that she wants, I can provide. Then that makes it beyond me.
Yes.
Yeah, but of course, like for me in this season, my mission is bigger. I really want to impact millions, on number. So it makes me want to do the hard things. Like sometimes, like I just feel kind of like, fuck, it's not about me. Like sometimes, like ego will see that, like you were really gonna.
That was so hard.
That check, yeah. Is that really true for you? Yes, but the thing about my mission beyond me, like okay, like I may look ugly in front of the video, but fuck it, it's not about.
It's not about me.
Yes, it's not about my ego. It's not about how good I look. Nobody cares. People care about the message. So we like, okay, I'll do it.
Okay. So number 1 is be clear your starting point, where you want to get to, and your big why.
Yes.
Okay. Next.
Next, get yourself dedicated.
Okay.
So like even for me, I actually diversified like portfolio into 5 different, I call it the soul curriculum or money lessons, because at different stage of our net worth, our strategy have to be very different. So when you understand where your starting point is and where you want to go, then you know that, okay, this is the starting point. Then I will have to use this strategy. Ideally, my portfolio has to comprise of this diversification. Because most like people who teach about investment, they're, of course, I mean, there's no good and no bad, but most people, they just focus on teaching one investment, which makes sense, but if you look at your portfolio in totality, just having one investment is never good enough in terms of diversification.
Yeah.
So for me, I actually teach people how to construct a portfolio that is suitable for their net worth.
Yeah, where they are and where they want to get to, right? And then like the risk profile, about how much dependence that you have on you as well. Yeah, so this does make sense, because like for us as well, when we coach someone in business as well, is where are you now, right? How much are you working?
Yes.
Or rather, how much is your revenue and profit right now? Like that determines
The strategy.
right? Are you existing and what you should be doing next? As if you're like 6-figure, you do 6-figure stuff, right? If you're like high 6-figure, you do high 6-figure stuff. Don't.
Exactly, because I saw the same mistake that I made when I was starting my business last year. So I was modeling companies that are already generating like 8 figures.
Correct. You burn yourself out because it's cannot for you.
Yeah, just easy. And then technically I have a business coach. I always believe in coaching because it is the fastest way to accelerate journey. So my business coach was like, what? You're just starting in your business. You cannot do that. I was like, I never knew. So thankfully, like she pointed it out and pointed me to the right direction so that I don't just get busy. Because I think initially, especially when I just started my business last year, I was like getting myself so busy, but nothing is coming in. And I was almost worrying out. And I realized that, I had this like martyr complex, this savior, I want to save everyone, but I'm not even saving myself. So I realized that maybe getting the right support to knowing me in the direction that I wasn't doing the right strategy, the right time, the season that I'm in. And that's the same for business, for money. If you're applying the wrong strategy, you realize that you will always be like drowning, gasping for air. It's just so turn.
Right. So yeah, I mean, like you clearly, been in banking for so many years and helping this clientele doing, learning about finance and building their own portfolio. You're clearly an expert in that, right? And then you realize that you need help in other areas as well, right? So did that just happen that naturally for you? Because a lot of people always go, like you say, right, the martyr mentality. I should figure this out by myself, right? Maybe I don't need help. Let me just try on my own for a while more, right? So was that a natural to you, or what was is there another shift somewhere?
Yeah, there was a shift. So that wasn't natural at all, because I think previously being an employee, like all this help and support always come like by force. So the thought of seeking for help was like foreign to me. But it wasn't until the breakdown of my marriage that I started really, because the pain was so bad that I wanted to seek help. Like, what was I doing wrong? How can I improve the situation? How can I improve my communication? And that was when I actually started my journey of personal development about 7 years ago. And then I realized that, actually, help is always there. But I have to be the one who want it desperate enough to seek for it. And since I started on the journey, I never stopped.
Right. Yeah, because you were telling me before with the camera started rolling about this coach help you with that coach help you with that. And that's why I would say you pretty much have done a lot over the 7 years and accelerated your journey pretty much your entire life.
Yes, it just quantum leap. And to me, I look at it as investment. Because the best thing to invest is back in yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, when you have surplus, that's where he invests in other assets.
Right.
Because when you think about it, the concept of investing into assets is also investing in their growth. That's where you can gain a growth. But if you invest in yourself and you are running a business, when you grow, your business grow, your income grow, that is also an investment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you are your biggest asset in this.
Yes. Right. Yes. And then also to diversify. Because when you invest in yourself, then when you have the access, then you invest in something else. So in all the different growth engine, they can help you to.
Yeah. And that brings me back to that, you have the 5 assets plus, or what you call it,
5 different money lessons.
money lessons. So
From what is
1
to 100,000.
is what do you focus on?
That is more on survival. So the focus is really getting out of that.
Okay. So you see Shen how to get out of that.
Okay, I don't really focus in this area, but I just want them to be aware and there are risks.
Okay.
Because they're all building blocks, right? For example, at this season, you need these asset classes, and then at the next season, you stack up. And then and in the third phase, you actually do some changes. And then fourth phase, what are the changes? How would your reality look like? How will the investment portfolio look like? What is good to have in your portfolio? And maybe is it good to just do it yourself, or it's time to actually get some help to do it for you? Pretty much like business, right? At different stage of the business, at different stage of your network, you apply a different strategy so that you can get support to go and in that stage. Oh yeah, so 100,000, 0 to 100,000, 100 to 500, 500 to a million, a million to 10 million, and then 10 and beyond.
Oh. Okay. So typically, how long? Let's say I'm in the 100 to 500,000. I think most of our audience are probably there. How long is the time frame do I need to invest or hopefully get out of this and get to that the next stage?
This is such a fun question. I love it. Actually, how long or how fast or how slow?
Yeah.
It really depends on what you do.
Yeah. So I only guess
Within a year. Why not? Yeah. So it really depends on where you are, right? Just and then like how are you going to actually generate that within a year, 2 to 3 years? It's very, very actually.
So do you teach them in terms of like more how to generate active income or passive income?
More of less.
Invest meaning passive.
Yes. So that it can actually take away the stress from their plate. Because a lot of time, many women, they resist even learning about money because to them it's like another job, another dread. Like they really have the businesses, they have family, they have kids, and then
I'm high flying
like everything is try to take a piece of them.
Yeah.
Like taking more time away from them. So the thing about having to learn how to trade, learn how to invest, it almost feels like it's gonna suck away a part of them.
Yeah.
So a lot of them they feel like, when I have time. But if you think about it realistically, you will never have.
Correct.
So that's why for me, I don't really want and I realize that in the finance space, it's actually a man's game created by men for men.
Right.
And there's nothing right, nothing wrong. It's just that how men bring and women bring, we are wired very different. Men, they are like if you go back to the very kind of instinct, right? They are more of hunters. Like they want to totally hit. So that's why trading actually works very well with them. And the difference between trading and investing is trading is like every day they take some idea,
They can hunt, they can take something very bold. They have in out, right?
Yeah. So it may be small, but they're happy. And for women, that's not our nature. Yeah. So what they want is like, okay, if you think about it on a different level, right? The fundamental level is actually to know that this is a safe investment. Do I know that I'm safe investing with this? So once they actually understand it in a simplistic way, they know that these investments are safe, they just put it and let it support them. Yeah, so it's really understanding where to allocate the resources and let it grow at speed.
So do you sort of like help them? I guess is it very personal, or it's not like can be done in a group? Like okay, it's time now to buy certain assets, for example, or so more like specifically you have this much money to play with, so you invest this.
Okay, so the group and personal is very different. Yeah. So the group setting is if they don't really have a lot of investment background. Okay, so this will actually teach them from the foundation Okay, and the intention is to allow them to understand and be discerning, and then to build their own portfolio. Okay, it's in alignment with them. Okay, because the truth is, a lot of like some of my group clients, they will also tell me, oh, I saw on the internet they need to actually invest in the maybe a 30, 30, 30, that kind of formula. Or like, but to me, it's like that works for that guy, but it may not work for you. But when you really understand what's up there and understand yourself and your goal, then that's where you learn to be discerning, and that's where you regain your power back. Instead of giving it away that this must be the right formula.
Wow.
And even if you think about it, what was right for me, say for example, before I had a kid, and even when my kid was 1, and now that my child is almost 6 years old, my investment portfolio also changed because of the change of our lifestyle. So instead of me being rigid in what the rules that I set for myself in the past, I'm actually allowing it to change to support my season manner.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's for the group setting, to allow them to teach them to be discerning, to teach them to actually understand, so that they can always build portfolio that is in most alignment.
So understand what's foundation.
Yes, yes, and understand themselves through that journey. And then for the one-on-one that I do, it's really mainly more for they already have money, they have time, and instead of bringing it through the whole learning journey, this really noted.
Action do.
Yeah, just
Did you study the market like it's not like every day just to know that what's good here, what's happening right now?
yes, and it's really getting all this information and condensing it to what's most important, extracting the essence. Because if you think about it, the news is pretty much also a media. Pretty much a social media is flooded in many things, and the intention is to get the attention. But the essence is to read beyond the noise, the big headline, to get the essence. What is this going for? And if you have a longer horizon, you wouldn't be too bothered by all these noises. Because all these noises, there is somebody behind it to want to drag a certain intention. Pretty much like when you're in a business, you want to run your marketing, and you have your intention, you want to drag. But if you know that, okay, I need a business coach. Okay, whatever you say, I will know that I need. But if I'm running a business, you can do what you want. I'm not going to be affected by it because that's true. Yeah, wait, I know that this is not what I need. Yeah. I wouldn't be bothered if you run an awesome campaign, but it's not in alignment with my season right now. Maybe the next season when I'm going to be an entrepreneur, then if your message resonates with me, then I will.
So would you say that, learning the foundation would teach them sort of like filter out the noise and be focused on your, like you say, your 5-year, 10-year?
Yeah, and not to be frozen by, first of all, because that first level, right, they freeze by all this information. So don't freeze and don't get overwhelmed. And then once they are really take action, and filtering allows them to be discerning.
So, I get asked this a lot, so I have to ask, right? What would you suggest is that the easiest thing that someone can just invest in without having to consume all this and understanding the market and all that? You don't have time to.
Okay, the easiest thing to invest in right now, I would say 4 assets. Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, and silver.
Okay.
The reason why I actually classify them, I would say generally 2 categories: Bitcoin, Ethereum, the future of
honey.
And metals, yes, and then gold and silver will be like the old world. So the real world, the old world,
Right.
digital, physical.
Yeah.
So this already shows a lot of diversification in terms of the polarity.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, regardless of how money is going, there's always backed by gold and silver. And then if we're moving towards, digital currency, then you got it covered.
Correct. So basically, I teach about the duality of wealth. Also, the duality of wealth essence is that money is both masculine and feminine. So in this duality, the feminine will be the digital asset, also more in the ether. This will be more of the masculine psychology.
Okay, now that we're on this topic, I'm very interested in this feminine, masculine. I think I am somewhere in between. I think I'm actually more masculine, but I don't know, whatever, right? Like, how is that important when it comes to thinking about money? And how has that helped you as well, like Crystal, myself, in becoming who she is today, I think, right?
I love this question. So basically, especially being brought up in Singapore and being in the Singapore, like money system, I think we focus a lot about the masculine side of money. And people associate money and masculine because it's very structured.
Number, strategy,
Yeah, numbers, data. But the truth is, that is only half of the equation. Because if you just solely use numbers and data, that will get you somewhere. But the whole picture comes when, like for me, I realize for women especially, we have a superpower. We have intuition. So the data can tell you everything, but sometimes when it just feels off, listen to that hunch. That is a dumb insight. But if we are too leaning into our masculine and I used to do that also. I blow my hunch. I say like no. And I realize that, oh damn, this is not a good. Yeah, this is not a good one. Or I listen to my hunch and realize that, oh my God, this is so good. When everyone else stunted me and I went like it, this turned out so good. Yes. But of course,
it takes time for you to learn that though, right? Like trusting your intuition is, especially when we've been told to, be rational and not be emotional as a woman, right? So how did that transformation happen with?
Oh, it's been a journey. And it continues to be.
Yeah.
Because usually this intuition, they are actually soft voices. They are gentle. They are not as harsh and critical. So sometimes we tend to overlook it. So, but the more I learn to trust myself, to believe in that, and of course being supported by a foundation, the masculine structure, that duality actually is really supportive. Because many women, especially, they only lean with their intuition, but without a structure. Meaning, I feel like I want to do this. I feel, but they don't even have the data to support. They don't know what to invest. They don't know anything. So they don't have a really solid base to allow their intuition, their femininity, their creativity to thrive. So it always has to be a balance of both. So you have the substructure, then you allow the creativity.
Yeah, because you don't have the structure. And I feel like then you try to listen to the intuition that it didn't turn out well because you don't have this, and you would not always doubt yourself. So when you have the structure, you have the foundations, that I can be a bit more risky because I know that's a bottom line, right?
There's some structure to actually support it. Yeah, so there are many layers to it, but that's the essence of what I teach. And if you apply it in business, because I know a lot of your listeners are entrepreneurs, right? So if you talk about business, it's the same thing. For example, you can take inspired action, but if you don't have your systems in place, you take the inspired action to do a film a really good content, then on where are all these people coming? You got the traffic, but you got nothing to capture it.
Yeah,
I know it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's you build that, then you can go and be creative. You do what they want. But this foundation is there to support, to be there to hold. And if they want to grow to the next level, then they expand their structure, and then they can be even more creative. So in actual fact, this law of duality is a universal law, and it's applicable in every age. It's just sometimes we don't know what we don't know. It's so unconscious that we don't really consciously think about.
So it's just really about building confidence in trusting in your intuition.
That's a part of it. But of course, sometimes if you want to, first of all, trust your intuition or even have a bigger dream, a bigger goal, but the physical reality is not showing, you still need to actually have your physical reality, which is the masculine part, to actually show you the evidence that, yes, this is happening. Then you can actually know that, I can trust, I can be. It's a cool creation.
So what can we do? Let's say, I'm just taking as my audience right now, I would like to build my reality. I think we're okay, right? Probably not, let's say we're not in big debt. We have assets like balancing your debt. I don't know, a lot of us have properties. Of course, we have some sort of debt. Then what's the next step? Like, I know I need to, I have a hunch that I need to start investing somehow. What's my next step? What's my first step, or rather?
First step, start getting yourself educated. Okay, start learning. So, and start somewhere. Because a lot of time for learning also comes in many layers. Sometimes, okay, so first of all is to get out and start learning. Okay, next one, after you learn, take action. Because investment is pretty much like a sport. You cannot just, like if I want to learn swimming, I cannot watch a big tube video and And I made, okay, I'm watching the YouTube video is good to start so that I can get myself prepared, mentally prepared, right? But I still need to get into the water to finally understand how it works and how I fuck it up, like what not to do and how can I improve. So that's why, like even for my program, it's really about taking action, not just a concept. You take action, then that's where, okay, now you come back, we review. What is this about? What triggers you? What is that needs your attention? Because a lot of time, if you think about in investment, the strategy is only 5%. 95% is actually the subconscious, the nervous system, the emotion, the nervous system regulation. Yeah, all these other feminine side of it that is actually very, very important. That most of the people neglect. Yeah, and most traders, investors don't talk about it because that is too. It's too many layers. Nobody actually know who to talk about it, right? So it's easier to just explain chart, yes, but the bottom line, top line, right? Yes. But if you think about it, every time, whether we take an action or give action, it's always caused by when our nervous system don't be safe, when we don't see ourselves as that kind of person. So there are actually many, many layers, which we will peel, and I'm going to guide them to peel these layers so that they can expand as a person. Yeah.
Because more beyond just about money, beyond your asset classes, it's really expanding yourself.
Yes, and embodiment. Because if you think about it, let's say, for example, if now you embody yourself as an entrepreneur, nobody can strip away this title from you anymore because you are already embodied. Or if you are embodied as a millionaire, they can take away your millions, but it doesn't matter to you. Because you already know what it takes. You already build that decision about that person. Whether you take it away, doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's why people who are, but Donald Trump who went bankrupt don't know how many times and then they came back, right?
Because it's the same. His internal thermostat is already set as that. He's not gonna take anything less than that. You can show him his physical reality that is different, but in his mind, he's that person. He's gonna get it back. So that's why they always say, like some people will complain that the money is not equally distributed. But the truth is, even if you equally distribute everything, the money will still come back to the person with the strongest mind, who believe that she is that wealthy woman
and really deserving, yes, and really to take action to get there is because you believe you deserve it. Yeah, that's why the people who win lottery and just lose it within about years, there's this thought that I can pull on to this. I know what to do with it.
Correct. Yes. Because they don't have the strategy, and also their nervous system is not well equipped to hold on to that. So they will actually sabotage and discard.
Wow. Wow, that's okay. That's just blow my mind. I never thought about the nervous system and that could actually be doing that.
Because if you think about it in business, it's the same thing, right? Why some people are undercharged? Because they don't see themselves as that kind of person. And if they don't, even if we tell them the logic, no, it won't.
But either people are chanting to each other. You can tell all the logic of stuff. But I miss this.
And because they feel like, maybe it's a lot about these layers. But when you peel through them and when they start seeing themselves as that person, they will take the inspired and aligned action that aligns with the identity that they see themselves.
So I feel like what you do isn't just, you are helping women, build their portfolio and grow their wealth. But really a lot about this is, almost like OG.
It's a shift, I must say it's a whole shift in identity. It's stepping into the identity of a body. That's why when my coaching client came, she was telling me, I know where to put you in. You're not exactly a money coach. Well, I help them to change their money activity, but through that, is to help them to see that they are the
coach. Right. Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that you need to fix this part first. It's just to show me how to trade.
Yes, and because when you actually start to see yourself as that, you realize that actually making money can come in so many ways. Like some people, seriously, Pokemon card, they can also make money. Handbag, they can also make money. Because they are that person. You give them anything, they can make money anywhere.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. It's not about the tool. It's not about what asset. Of course, certain asset is still when you know where the market is going and everything, these assets make sense. But if you already start embodying, you start to open all these other doors that used to be closed, shut tight in the past.
Wow. So there's really a lot to unpack, a lot to learn there. So so I think I've learned a lot and a lot of don't know how to explain it. Like there's all aha moment that I think really applicable when you're in business and in life as well. Like in anything that you want to achieve, you got to first embody that, right? I always say that, hey, you want to run a marathon, you just don't go, I'm gonna, just train. You gotta say, I am a runner.
Yes.
Right? It's like, oh, I'm a fit person, right? And I'm supposed to eat healthy and not just, I just want to lose weight. Yes, it will never get. So thank you so much for that. So if you can leave our audience with like one thing, like one sentence that you want women to understand and remember. Oh, gee.
I want you to remember that you're powerful.
Powerful.
Yes.
So simple. Just powerful. You can create the change that you want to see.
And you are our bee.
All right, and so we leave you with that. You enjoy this episode and would like to get to know Crystal more. Where can they find?
You can find me on my Instagram. It's at Shining with Crystal.
Shining, powerful with Crystal. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you like this episode, of course, just hit like and follow and connect with us. And I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.